Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So if we take a quick look at the daily overall markets for the top 100, we can see a sea of green. It looks pretty good right now, but the big issue that we are going to run into is volatility, because we do know that this week is going to be volatile, especially as we do get closer to Friday, which I will outline in this video. But so far the market is looking pretty good. Altcoins are up significantly. We have Ondo up over 22.6%, Avalanche up 11.6%, Crypto.com's coin Crow is up about 18.2%. Arbitrum is up about 12.2, Move up 17.8. So again, some strong gains across the board, and I didn't even mention all of them that are up double digits. But if we go over to the actual crypto market cap, over on CoinMarketCap, we could see that it's at $3 trillion. So the total has actually bounced well over like 300, almost $400 billion just this week alone, back to the $3 trillion mark. Now, this is actually very exciting because, again, the weekly candle close is coming up, and it's looking as if we could close at some pretty bullish levels. Now, Bitcoin is up about 4.6%. Ethereum up about 5.12%. Nothing too crazy there. XRP, pretty minimal gains. It's less than 1%. Well, now on the 24 hours, it's like 1.41%. But nothing too crazy there. But if we look across the board, like I said, we could see double-digit figures across the board, which is very exciting stuff. And even if we look at the top gainers in the last 24 hours for the top 500, the gains are a little bit more significant, which is lovely to see after having such, red and depressing days in crypto. Now, are we going to get extremely excited about these gains when most of them are just bounces off the bottom? No, because like for an example, Ondo, it's up about 23% today. This is what the last 1 month looks like. This is what the 1 year looks like. So we have a little bit more work to do, but this is a good start. Now, in order for us to actually get very bullish, we need to take out some of the previous highs, which I will also outline in this video. Fear and greed right now sitting at about 30, nothing too significant there. We're still at some pretty significant lows here, going all the way back to like roughly September. And we already know what was happening in September. It was the same exact deal, right? We were having major sell-offs. For an example, I actually think if we go to Bitcoin, I could show you guys that real quick on this chart. So if we go back to the last year, so this was back in August, this was September, right? So September actually was not that bullish. In fact, we were just kind of bouncing off the bottom, and we did hit a low of about 52.6K. Everyone thought it was, completely over. Again, we could see that same wick here, but we already know what happened after that. Now, are we going to repeat that same upward swing here? It's questionable. We have a little bit more work to do in order for us to actually hit the same pattern here, and what we are really kind of looking for is just taking out some of the previous highs. But the altcoin season index still sitting at about 15, so we're still in Bitcoin season. This is pretty clear when we look at like the Bitcoin dominance chart, well over 61+%. But I do think that we are getting closer to actually moving into the actual official alt season of this cycle. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, well, we've been hearing that, and nothing has happened yet. I get it. It's annoying. It's frustrating. It's tiresome hearing the same thing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I want you guys to realize that a lot of these altcoins are still up significantly, and we actually haven't hit that alt season phase of the cycle. Just understand that when it actually does happen, what we are seeing in terms of like today's prices, they will 5x at least from here on a lot of these charts. Now, outside of like the top 50, a 10x to 50x is not unlikely. We've seen that many times over. I shared in a video recently actually talking about how like Chainlink, for an example, did a 100x off of lows from like 2019 all the way into 2021. There's a lot of altcoins similar to Chainlink that did that. Hedera is one that did a 50x. So again, the gains are different across the board, but that's because of how much they have ran already or how big their market cap actually is. Again, the higher the market cap, the lower the ROI is technically. But outside of that, I did put out a post yesterday regarding what's going to be happening this week. I said I have a feeling that what we see announced on Friday will shake this entire market completely. And it's not so much about like, oh, bullish news or anything like that. No, it's more so about what is going to be talked about around crypto. But also, we do have some updates coming from Jerome Powell. I said volatility will be definitely at all-time highs because it's not just about the crypto summit. Jerome Powell will also be delivering an economic speech early in the morning, by the way. So the markets will already be open for stocks, and Jerome Powell is going to be delivering an economic update in terms of his speech. So just be prepared for violent market swings on Friday. So even though right now things are looking pretty good, don't get your hopes up just yet until we see what happens on Friday. Friday is going to be the big focus point. And right now, we are less than 24 hours away from Friday. So just be prepared. Okay? It's not clickbait. I want you guys to understand that what we hear from Jerome Powell and what we hear on Friday will have effects on the market. It's just simple. And we have been hearing a lot about, tariffs. Even right now, we have Jim Cramer commenting on tariffs. He says he does not, see a trade deal being reached to resolve the ongoing tariff war. So this could be, the reverse indicator of what will happen, which is there will be a deal if we are going off of what happened in the past when Jim Cramer does talk. So again, just be prepared for Friday. We make it through Friday. We make it through the weekend, and we will be fine. That's it. Don't act impulsively. Don't get too bullish. Don't get too emotional. Just try to relax. Don't act impulsively. Focus on what's going to be happening on Friday, because I do think that it's going to be a pretty big, day for finance, for crypto, for everything. So just try to get through Friday, get through the weekend, and you'll be fine, in my opinion. Now, I did also say over on X that we are close, and I quoted Blockchain Backer because he did post the dollar. Now, for those out there that don't know how the dollar works with crypto, basically, when the dollar breaks down, when the dollar is bearish, it's bullish for crypto and stocks. It basically means that you are safer in risk on asset classes. It could be an investment class, for an example. With the US dollar breaking these levels, like for an example, I have the US dollar open over here. I've been outlining the US dollar for a while. I gave this path when we were starting to move up to the 1618. We didn't hit the 1618, perfectly, but we did get pretty close. This is what I was expecting on the dollar. Basically a dead cat bounce, macro, lower high, and now we're looking for the lows to be taken out. And I'm looking at the macro lows here, right? So first off, we want to take out this low down here. I mean, if we're being very, specific, we want to take out this low on the weekly, followed by these lows. So like 100.6 and 100.15 is what we want to see broken completely. My target area is down here between 95, almost 96 to about 98. That is a major demand zone. But I just want to show you guys, like, if we go all the way back to March, do you guys remember of March of 2020? If you were here, doesn't matter if you were here or not, you already know what happened, right? Crypto crashed, stocks crashed. Yeah, look at the dollar during that time. It was soaring. That's because what people do in times of economic stress or when things are looking, doom and gloom, they hodl dollars. They sell stocks. They sell everything into the dollar to hold the dollar because cash is king during those times. And what ended up happening was things start to bounce back. We start to see a little bit more of, bullish momentum on risk on assets because people were buying. And you can see the chop here, right? Like we chop sideways all the way into like the end of May. And then all of a sudden the dollar just fell off a cliff. This is also when DeFi summer began. Now you have a nice move to the upside, and we're starting to sell off significantly on the dollar. This is very bullish for risk on assets. And right now you can see Bitcoin climbing higher. By the way, Bitcoin structure looks very good. I've been really kind of showing you guys this for a while now. Look at the structure. We have some lower time frame bullish structure forming. We have a nice significant low in the CME gap, followed by a higher low. Now what we want to see is the previous highs being broken and then breaking over the major resistance or support zone in this case, because this was major support that did act as resistance in the past, in the past, going all the way back to like the beginning of January before we did break out to that new high. If we go off of the wick, we never actually closed over the previous highs on the daily, so we can't confirm a breakout there. But what I'm really looking at here is for us to actually break over this, flip this 95K almost level into support, and then break over 100K. That's what I want to see on Bitcoin. But the main thing here is I want to see us really kind of take out these previous highs. So we want to see a daily close over 106.5K basically, and then we can target the wicks, which is like around 110K. So right now, first major target, 95K essentially, break over 100K, target 106.5K. Right now, if we really think about Bitcoin, if we are going to see a significant surge on Bitcoin, to actually break over these levels and get a daily candle close, it's like 16.5% away. That is not a crazy amount, for Bitcoin to move. I mean, even off of this recent wick to the upside, it was like 21.3%. But outside of that, when it comes to XRP, XRP has been performing pretty well. We do have kind of a failed breakout here. Again, it's very similar to Bitcoin technically. If you are going to like move this up to the actual wick and kind of focus on like where the support was back here towards like the end of January, but I don't like going off of that. In fact, I want to see us really kind of just break over resistance and close over this on the weekly. And on the weekly, it looks a little bit different because technically we already have, a weekly candle close here. But is this just a failed breakout? Is this just a lower high on the weekly? Technically, it is a lower high just on the weekly. We actually already had a breakout here. We're just kind of chopping right now. And I think that we're just kind of chopping here. And I think that most of these charts were looking very bullish leading into the new week. But guess what we got? We got the whole, update around tariffs. So this is something that I am watching closely. I want to see us at this point, because again, XRP looks pretty bullish here. I want to see us on the weekly, which is in 3 days, 21 hours roughly. I want to see us close over this previous candle, break over roughly like $2.94, but mainly reclaim $3 plus. If we could actually have a weekly candle close on XRP over the actual significant high from January 20th and the 27th, this is again the weekly, this would be very bullish. Closing over $3.04 on the weekly would be extremely bullish for XRP, and it would put it on a path to targeting about $4.41. That's the next target if we can close over this and break out officially. But I do think that XRP is getting very close because of even the XRP dominance chart, which, by the way, this is in a strong uptrend, still looks very good on the weekly. Where we did close at is a major support zone going all the way back to like 2018. It would be a supply zone flip essentially. We want to actually get a much larger impulsive move here. And we want to get over those November 2020 liquidity wicks essentially. These are like liquidity wicks. We want to get over this. All right, we want to break over roughly 6%. And at that point, I do think that we will start to usurp a lot of dominance away from Ethereum, and we will most likely flip Ethereum this cycle if that is the case. I'm definitely going to be watching this a little bit more closely over the next couple days. But upon, just looking at the XRP dominance chart, what I'm also looking at is the Bitcoin dominance chart for something like this. Right now, this is starting to gain a little bit more momentum, and we already bounced off of that lower trend line. I'm waiting for this thing to break down, because right now, the entire environment around crypto is looking very bullish. If this chart still is going to treat 61.93% as resistance, and we're going to reject off of that and retest this lower trend line and finally break down through it, I do think that that's when alt season will officially begin. But we still have yet to actually close a bearish candle below this trend line since we started to treat it as support, since going all the way back to roughly the beginning of December, when, by the way, most altcoins hit their local top, not their official top, their local top. But I do believe that we are getting very close to this entire market waking up in a big way. We're still focused on what needs to happen for alt season to officially be printed in. I do think that that is, I think that's all determined by what we see on this chart right here. This is the chart that we need to focus on. If we're going off of the macro, we're really kind of looking at basically the 12-month period on Bitcoin dominance. I shared this many times over in multiple videos. The path forward is very clear, right? 3 bullish candles in a row, followed by that big bearish candle. And even right now, right, the thing that I'm really focused on is, are we going to treat this cycle the same as every single other cycle? Or is this truly the cycle where everything has changed? Because every single time that we have heard that over the past, few cycles where, oh, everything is different, this is happening, that's happening, guess what? It typically leads into the cycle being the exact same as previous ones. Right now, things are looking a little bit different, right? We do have, a very big change in the environment around crypto. So could this technically be a completely different cycle? It definitely could be, but nothing is telling us that it is just yet until, for an example, like Bitcoin dominance, for this thing to officially tell us like this cycle is different, we would need to create like a higher high on this chart. That's like well above 71.24%, and it's above like almost 74% on Bitcoin dominance. I don't see that happening at all. I'm still betting big on this thing selling off in a big way. And if we're looking at the 12-month period, we should technically create a lower low. So I would argue the low for Bitcoin dominance this cycle should be around like 37%, somewhere within that 37, almost 40% range. So that's what I'm really kind of focused on right now. I'm looking at this chart selling off in a big way. Alt season officially beginning. It's going to take a little bit more time, I think, for this chart to actually officially break down because of just how bullish it is on, for an example, like the daily. I have been focused on this on the weekly as well. So this is what the weekly looks like. You can clearly see a lot of resistance right around where we are trading now. So it would make sense for us to actually break down from where we are at on Bitcoin dominance while Bitcoin is breaking to the upside of like 106.5K or even 110K, accelerating and igniting alt season in a big way. That's what I would love to see. But that's in a perfect world. We have to really kind of analyze these charts a little bit more as we do get closer to Friday, and also when we look at the weekly candle close. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely will like, subscribe, to notifications on because I'm free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.